I can tell you. I mean, this is a show where we like to give everybody everything. One of our great employees behind the scenes, Michael, is here, and his phone has had some issues here, and his phone alarm went off at the start of the show just now because
Michael
it's time
also
for
sleeps
FT.
in his socks, so he has lots of problems. His phone is probably the least of those. And the reason his phone goes off is because if you have to stay with him, Kratz, which I never recommend ever. So not only does he try to play tricks on you, like he bought a big thing of gummy bears and said, "Oh, I want to see if AJ will eat these." Guess what? Didn't touch them. Also wasted money on pizzas and all this other stuff. Didn't eat. Sleeps in socks, and if he has to be somewhere up at like 6, he starts the alarm at 5 and goes 5, 5:05, 5:10, 5:15, 5:20, 5. So by the time, like, I don't have to be up till 7. Why the heck are you waking up the whole house for an hour straight?
Yeah, multiple alarms ain't it? Come on, Michael, clean it up. Clean it up.
And he's single, ladies. If there's any ladies listening.
Ooh wee.
And he drives a Tesla, so he's got 2 things going for him.
Free gas, baby. No gas. A couple things. Number one, if you missed thoughts on game 1 between Detroit and Cleveland, San Diego and Chicago, and really even Yankees, Red Sox, and Dodgers, Reds, we had you covered. So I just want to remind everyone, we're giving you more coverage than ever on the FT network. We did post-game for Padres and Cubs. And after that, in that same video, we did Tigers Cleveland. Also, we split it up so that if you're watching on YouTube, you could just pick that if you're just a Tigers or a Guardians lover. And then Pinstripe territory, Monster territory covered Red Sox Yankees. Dodgers territory covered Dodgers and the Reds. So we got you all covered there. I'm going to give you one note, and then we're going to charge. If you're down 1-0 in a best of 3.
Never won. No team has won.
You can't come back. From 2022 to 2024, so just in the last 3 years, there's been 12 of these. The winner of game 1 has won all 12.
You know what the even better stat was? The 4 seed in the AL has never won a game.
That's weird.
So the Yankees lost as the 4 seed. That means they're losing tonight. Should have been my lock of the year.
It's a cursed seed. And also, we've only had 2 game 3s in that 3-year span. So let's see if we can get us 1 or 2.
Crazy. It's because of what we talked about. Man. Once you go behind, everyone starts panicking. We got to get to our bullpen. Let's hurry up and get our. And then one guy has 1 bad inning. It's over.
Yep. Bats press too.
Yep.
We'll be on after Padres Cubs to give you a post-game wrap-up on that one, and we'll do the same thing. We'll give you our thoughts on the Tigers and the Guardians and how that wraps up, and we'll see if that series ends. But for now, let's charge.
Charging the mound.
What do we have in this Yankees-Red Sox series? Where do we start?
Yeah, I mean, where do we start with the game yesterday? First of all, Fried and Crochet pitched amazing.
Yeah.
Both of them were really good. Crochet gave up the early run to Volpe, Ken's X factor, and he hit the home run, and you're thinking, okay, here we go. And that was it. That was it for the Yankees offense. Judge had a couple hits, singles. Fine, they had a couple chances. They had first and second in the first inning. Nobody out, didn't score.
Would you leave Fried in the game?
Huh?
Do you leave Fried in the game?
I mean, what to finish?
Not to finish the game, but just to give you more. I mean, Crochet didn't finish the game, but
yeah, but he handed the ball to Chapman.
He handed the ball to the closer.
And one of the strengths of the team, though, by the way, of the Yankees was supposed to be their bullpen. So you're thinking, all right, well, he's handing it to Weaver. And he's been one of their – I mean, he struggled a little bit in the second half, but he's been one of their best for a couple of years now. So you're thinking, okay, he can get through it. And then there's also some that has came up a lot too is Aaron Judge's elbow. Remember when Sogard hit the double? If he has a normal arm, I don't think he challenges him there. But Judge got it, backhanded it, and he gave it all he had, but Sogard outran it. That ended up being huge because then Yoshida got the hit that drove in too, right? That would have been first and third, maybe a little different situation, but that was a big thing too. There's so much to dissect, and you got Jazz not talking to the reporters, or talking to him, but like not talking to him.
Back towards him.
I mean, Chapman going from 95 to 101 after the bases got loaded. I mean, it was an intriguing game.
Bases loaded, nobody out, Kratz, nobody scores.
And if you need to score more, you left how many home runs on the bench, essentially? You had Jazz on the bench early. You had Ben Rice on the bench early. Like, I get it. Like if you had to get to those lefties and get to the bullpen righties, then you can't have a 6-pitch 7th inning. Your guys can't go out there and make 3 outs on 6 pitches just so you don't strike out. You have to build his pitch count up, and it fell right into AC's hands. Alex Cora was like, "This is the perfect spot in the lineup." They already set it up, so there's a bunch of lefties. So we'll just mow through this. Crochet is going to throw a billion, and we'll never even go to our righties.
What's the computer system that the Yankees bow to?
Base.
Base.
It's called base, yep.
So Base said, no Jazz today, even though you've played him in these spots most of the time. And then bring him in later in the game for defense and then to
even
still
though they
face
were
a
losing
lefty.
when they brought him in, didn't they?
Do you think
For a
Base
defensive
is...
upgrade.
Guys, do you think Base isn't a Yankees fan?
Base is a Red Sox fan?
I mean, they do whatever Base says. Do you think that Base could be rooting against? Just like some people think AI is eventually going to turn on humans, maybe Base has already turned on the
Living in
Yankees.
the Terminator? Where's Sarah Connor? We need to find Sarah Connor right now.
I joke, but I'm also serious. Like, they do bow down to that thing. It's true.
They do. All teams do, though. What Torey Lovella said.
Yeah.
I don't make the lineup. It's a decision that's a committee-based decision.
Base would have said remove Garrett Crochet earlier yesterday. They would have said he doesn't
the way he
pitch
was
like
going.
that. No. Human says stay. Base says no. This is past the pitch limit, isn't it?
Base.
No, he wasn't.
Base might even see the fact that Garrett Crochet is a cyborg too, and Base might be like, "I appreciate machines playing the games. This is where we want to get to anyway."
But Max Fried hadn't given up a run. Out hustled Duran to first. Let him eat. Velo went down, a tick and a half over the course of a game? Okay. Still looked damn effective.
Had a curveball and a sweeper going, and she had a good changeup yesterday. I mean, they weren't touching him.
This could be the decision that decides their entire season.
Yeah, but
a team that
that's what they've done all
homers.
year. They also can't score 1 run. Sorry. It's also the first time in history I thought I saw, I don't know if that's right, history where a team had in the bottom of the ninth bases loaded, no outs, and didn't score a run and didn't win the game.
But you're facing Crochet, who's a top 3 starter in the sport, and you're facing the best closer in baseball this year in Chapman. And the Red Sox said, nope, not going to get to anything else. Crochet told that to Cora. He's like, it's me and Chappie. Nobody else gets to pitch tonight.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
That's freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Hey, Kratz, go ahead. And then I got a question for you.
No, I was just going to say, we had a night last night, not just in that game, of just dominating left-handed pitchers. Go across all the games. 4 games, you saw, obviously, Boyd pitched well, but then you saw Tarek Skubal. You saw Max Fried. You saw Garrett Crochet. You saw Blake Snell. That was some absolute monsters throwing cheese from the left side. Maybe the game's changing. It's all for lefties now.
Why? Well, here's my question. And I saw this, and people brought this up too. If you're the Yankees, I guess Base says you don't play Jazz and Ben Rice. They've been 2 of your best hitters, and they might run into one. I've seen Ben Rice homer off a lefty before. I've seen Jazz Chisholm homer off a lefty. I know it's Crochet, but is Amed Rosario that big of an upgrade?
Yes.
He's that big of an upgrade. What did he do last night?
Going into the game, he was 6 for 8, I think, against Garrett Crochet.
Okay.
2 dingers, 2 doubles. I think that's an upgrade. I just think it sucks that they ran into Crochet early. If that was going to happen, like Jazz played, I think 27 of the last 28 games or 28 of the last 30 games. I get it. But you have to have Amed Rosario in there.
Okay.
But we could make this case if the Yankees are playing the Tigers.
Yeah, would you do that against Skubal?
Then if you're in a best out of 7, you're just going to sit some of your best hitters in half the series because
he played Austin Wells. He's left-handed.
It's not, but it's to me. I think the Amed Rosario one is they took the numbers and then they were like, "That's too much to ignore. How can we ignore?" Last time they faced him, he hit a dinger in Fenway, and I think he hit a double off the wall too. You got to go with your best matchup there when you're facing an elite pitcher. You're talking about 2 dudes, Tarek Skubal and Garrett Crochet, that are not your typical lefties.
What do you tell Jazz Chisholm before the game and then after the game, Kratz, if you're Aaron Boone? Before the game, as in, hey, I know we've been playing you in these spots basically the entire year and you had a 30-30 season for us, but we're sitting you. And then after the game, when he turns his back to reporters, just as a grown adult, it's not cool, right? Either do the interview or don't. Like, I think you're better off. I'm going to speak for the media side here. Like, dude, if you're not even looking at me and like you don't want to do it, like I'd rather not, right? Like, I'll just come back or just tell me you don't want to talk to me today. Like, to me, that is just disrespectful to a human being. Like, I think we're all humans. We should treat each other that way. It's 2 minutes. I've done these things in the locker rooms a billion times. Most of the time, it is 2 minutes. We are in the clubhouse awkwardly so that we spend as little time as possible disrupting the lifestyle of a player, right? If it was up to me, bring them into another room, let's get good time to sit down. We're not doing that because we know you're busy. 2 minutes at your locker asking 5 questions with 20-second answers. That's the whole thing. Can you turn to me and look at me like a man?
He could have handled that better. Nobody's going to deny that. But I think Jazz, as much as some people are going to complain about maybe his immaturity, his flash, his ups and downs, all that stuff, you also got to look at how they've kind of used him this year. Hey, Jazz, we traded for you last year. You know what we need you to do? Play third. What did Jazz say? Anything for the team. Hey, Jazz, we made it to the playoffs again. I know you've been one of our best bats. You're sitting today. Hey, anything's best for the team. Even, I mean, it's hard to tell what he said, but it sounded like he said, hey, you know what? It's whatever's best for the team. Doesn't mean he needs to agree with it. And you asked, what do you say if you're Aaron Boone? Before and after the game? I don't need to say anything to him after the game. That's his time. All I talked to him about before the game is the fact that you're sitting against Crochet. I get it. You've played the last 27 to 28 games. You're sitting against Crochet. Amed Rosario is this for this. I know this sucks. We need you in game 2. We're going to need you late too. So I need to make sure you're locked in. I'm not saying you need to like it. I need to know that you are here for the boys and give us a good at bat. That's all you got to say. You don't have to handle anything. As a manager, if you got to be like, hey, stand up straighter and look people in the eye when they're interviewing you, you're cooked. You got way more things to worry about, especially in New York.
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to sit here and blast Jazz. It wasn't a good look. That's all I'm going to say. It wasn't a good look. It was disrespectful to the guys that were doing their job. They didn't make the lineup. If you want to be mad at Aaron Boone, fine, be mad at it. But don't be mad when the people – just come up and say, hey, Aaron Boone told me I wasn't playing. Okay. Then they got to go ask Aaron Boone why Jazz Chisholm didn't play. That's it. Turn around and say, hey, look, I don't know, guys. I went in when they told me to do. They asked me to do this. This is what I did. I was happy when I came in. I did the best I could on my at-bat. Didn't work out, right? I don't know why I didn't play. If Aaron Boone told him why he didn't play, you can say that reason or don't say that reason. That's up to you. But as soon as you just turn around and say, hey, I don't know. I was here. I was told I'm not playing. And then they got to go ask Aaron Boone the question. That gets you off the hook.
That's it.
But by doing this,
it goes viral.
Then it makes people – I'm not going to say lose respect for you, but fans are like, look at this guy. Look at this guy. Why is he doing this? Why? Just answer the question. Why didn't you play? I don't know. He didn't tell me.
It goes viral if you handle it this way. And
right.
I don't blame the viral community on this one.
No, you can't. Because I've never seen anybody do an interview with their back turned.
It's a character judgment situation.
Which is not fair all the time.
Right. But it is what it is. If you're frustrated, though, I mean, I know it sounds silly. I'd rather you just be like, hey, guys, having some issues. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
Anything but back to human. It's just not it.
AJ, what about sitting down to give an interview? Did that make you cringe, or were you cool with that? When everyone comes around and they're all standing and you sit and you're just like you're holding court.
That didn't bother me because I did it a lot. I mean, I just played 9 innings and I was tired and if they caught me and I was already sitting down, I'd usually say, all right, yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, I don't care. Now, did it bother me when a reporter came in and sat down? Yes.
Oh, well, come on. That's disrespectful.
It happens, though.
I know, but that's ridiculous.
Many times where I tell a reporter.
They're sitting in your seat?
They're sitting in chairs interviewing somebody, or they're reading the newspaper that's there for the players. I would say something.
We could do an hour on that.
My favorite was we'd have TVs, and I've done it as when I go in there, they're like this though. I'm like, hey, if you don't have anything to ask anybody, get out, dude.
The only thing I'll say, wait, I'm going to come back to that.
Listen,
sometimes we're waiting. I would be in there, and I'm watching a playoff game because I'm waiting for so-and-so who's hiding for
I just said I've done it,
minutes.
and I catch myself.
Yeah.
And I try not
You're allowed
to
to look at the
but
TV.
I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it. I know.
There's been times I'm in there, I'm waiting, and we're waiting for a particular player who's either just taking some time, maybe getting treatment, whatever, and we'll ask PR. They'll be like, they'll come out, or maybe they won't, but you got 20 minutes left. And then I'm just literally standing there, and I need to keep up with the playoff game. I get what you're saying. It's not a lounge. It's not a hangout spot. I don't want to be in there. I'm like,
me neither.
I'm not on the team.
It's still awkward.
It's
for me.
awkward.
I know a lot of the players.
Yeah, you want to go right up to the dude, say what up, and then get out.
Yes, like I walk up to the people I know, and even the ones I don't know, to introduce myself, or like guys we've had on the show. Hey, thank you for coming on the show. Or guys we want to get on the show. Hey, can we get you on? And then the guys, even then, I'm like, hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. If I haven't met them, or guys I know, I've met, hey, what's up? How you doing? Have a great game or whatever. And just get the heck out. Because it's always like that 15 to 20 minutes where I'm standing in there and I'm like,
It's weird. It's weird. It's like being in someone's bedroom or something. Like you ask what you need and then you're like, this is your space. See you later. FT fam, Pinstripe Territory has you covered with the Yankees postgame show, whether they win or lose. Derek Lewandowski will be there for you. He hustles. He does postgame shows all year on the Yanks. This is his big moment. And same thing with Robbie Hyde, who's the counterpart on the Boston side. Also fantastic. These two are great. Give them a little look on the postgame show tonight. Maybe you do a little bit of Robbie, a little bit of Derek for insight. And then we will swing right back on FT with Quinn Priester, Brewers starting pitcher. AJ, let's talk steaks. Omaha Steaks, to be precise. Big discounts we'll tell you about coming up in just a sec on the website, but also every steak is perfectly aged to maximize tenderness and hand-cut by master butchers in America's heartland. It's been around since 1917. They know what they're doing.
Absolutely, they know what they're doing. They come prepackaged, perfect sizes, portion size. You can get any kind of cut you want, any kind of meat you want, and it all comes out delicious. You can freeze it. You can thaw it right away. There's hamburgers, there's steaks, there's chicken, there's pork chops. There's everything you could ever want, and it comes out delicious every time.
Save big with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites during their early Black Friday sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code FOUL at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com. Promo code FOUL at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. What's up? We're back. So we could talk about this for a sec. We'll get to the Angels situation because there's actually a lot more to it now as Ken's coming out with news about Albert Pujols being a front runner. I want to spend a little more time on that. I guess we can do it here, but I'd like to spend a little more time on that because I think there's a lot to get to with one of the better hitters in our generation.
Already paid him enough, so didn't he have like a services clause for like ever?
There's a lot there. Let's just put it that way.
Remember, he signed that big deal and it was a services clause.
Personal services contract. He's making $1 million a year. Yeah. I would like to spend more time on this entire situation because it's kind of playing out as we're doing the show. So I'm just going to put that out there. And you guys were on the money yesterday when you said you need a big name to get Artie's attention.
That's a big name.
You want a big name? You got a big name.
Kratz, I know we're not supposed to talk about this, but I don't care. The guy who's making his big league debut, DeLauder, first inning, dropped a fly ball. His first fly ball ever in the major leagues in a game they have to win. What?
What did I say yesterday, Kratz?
It looks like Bybee might wiggle his way out of it, but still.
Disrespectful to put a guy out there for the first time in his life in the major leagues in a playoff game when you had time at the end of the regular season. I don't care what the computers say.
Panic move.
I don't think it's a panic move. I think it's a disrespectful move because you didn't just wake up one morning like the day of the rosters do and
start him in center in a game we have to win. He's never been out there.
Yeah, come on. Pathetic. Bring him up September 20th. Hey, Quinn Priester of the Brewers joining us right now on FT. Quinn, we really appreciate the time. Thank you for joining us. Great season in the regular season. Now we're ready for the postseason. How's life this week for you as one of the bye teams?
Yeah, it's fun. Thanks for having me first off. But yeah, we've been staying ready. We got Monday off, but now we've been at the field, 2 days in a row, staying in tune with the other wild card games and staying ready as a group and trying to keep things competitive and, as high intensity as we can. But yeah, it's been fun.
All right, before we dig into other stuff, I know you were raised outside Chicago. So were you a Cubs fan or a White Sox fan?
I grew up a Cub fan. So
okay, well then
now
the interview is over, yeah. Quinn. Thank you.
He's going to slay the Cubs if they win.
Oh, he better slay the Cubs if they win. That's all I'm going to say. He better slay the Cubs because otherwise, man, we're going to have some serious questions about where people's fandoms lie here.
Stop it.
I'm just kidding. Clearly, just kidding. But no, seriously, you guys have had this off time. How do you stay ready? I know you guys are doing some inter squad games. Do you throw an inning in these inter squad just to stay sharp? I saw Abner Uribe yelling at the umpire yesterday for bad calls, who I think is like one of your coaches or something. What is Murph doing during these? Is he practicing yelling at umpires? How do you guys stay sharp?
Yeah, no, I think we're just trying to keep it, as fun as possible. I think it's fun to go out and compete against your teammates that you've been with all year, and I look forward to doing that. I'm staying, like you said, I'm going to throw live today, and just to stay ready, stay on top of things, keep things crisp. While we do have a little bit of a break here. So going against your teammates, I'm going to be excited to compete against them, just being able to get close with them all year. Granted, didn't have a spring training with the team. Definitely is something that, you kind of look forward to in spring training, get to face your buddies, but now, I get an opportunity to do it today. And then, yeah, Charlie, our bullpen coach is umpiring, and there's some really good calls and there are some really bad ones. Kind of shows how difficult it can be, but I appreciate his confidence.
Greeny doesn't know what he's doing out there, so make sure you tell him that I said that. And who are you looking forward to punching out the most? Is there somebody in the position player or the guys you're going to face, I don't know if you're facing the whole lineup, that you're like, man, I would love, he talks so much smack, or like, he's a guy that I would love to go in and have him sign the baseball for me after I punch him out in the inter squad?
I mean, honestly, I've gotten to probably Sal. Sal's a tough guy to punch out too, because he can just battle, and he's fouling stuff off out of the glove basically, and so he'd be a fun one to have. And he's actually got me when I was with the Pirates, so I got to get him back in some way, and so he'd probably be the top of the list. But I mean, any of those guys, it'd be fun to just have that little thing over them to mess with them a little bit. But all in all, I'm going to just try and get my ground balls like I normally do, and then sometimes I get a punch out.
Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think they're opening the gates up like they are opening the gates for the Phillies. The Phillies sold out. Just yesterday, they sold out for their inter squad today. Would it make it a little more exciting, a little more fun if you guys were sold out, if there was fans just packed in America Family Field?
Yeah, I definitely think it would be different. I think it'd be really fun. I know our fans, are the best. They would do something like that. However, our leadership thought that doing what we're doing right now, being together as a group, being a team, and really, keeping each other, holding each other accountable was kind of the best way forward. And we're really enjoying this time to, like we've been saying, is to compete and get a little uncomfortable, put ourselves into situations that, are hard ones to navigate, whether it's, second and third, nobody out, bases loaded with one, first and third, all those things. And so we're able to control a lot more. And but certainly having some fans there would be an interesting factor, even though it doesn't really, there's nothing on the line. Seeing what they start cheering for and whatnot, it'd be kind of fun.
Front row Amy would be there keeping score. So let's also make sure that we know that front row Amy would be there keeping score with her scorebook. Even though Absolutely. The game didn't mean anything, she'd still be there. Well, can you get into your – yeah, I mean, if you don't know who front row Amy is, just Google her, anybody out there, and you'll know. She's a legendary Brewers fan. Can you go into your story a little bit about you were a first-round pick with the Pirates. You get traded to the Red Sox. Now you're traded. What was it like coming up with the Pirates and then, boom, oh, man, I'm on the Red Sox. Wow, look at me go. And you're thinking, all right, I got a chance for the Red Sox. And then they ship you to Milwaukee. And now here you are in the playoffs. I mean, you had 2 shots at the playoffs this year. But what was that journey like from you from thinking, I'm going to be a Pirate for life, and now I'm a Red Sox, and now I'm a Brewer?
Yeah, it was a whirlwind. It was crazy. And to be so, yeah, at the end or in the 2024 deadline is when I got moved. I made my debut with Pittsburgh, and like really thankful for that organization just give me a chance. Obviously, a ton of my development within the minor leagues, have a ton of great relationships over there, up and down the org. And then things definitely didn't go the way anybody wanted them to in the major leagues. Just was really inconsistent, trying to find my footing. Trying to find some confidence. And then when I was moved to Boston, was optioned back down to AAA, started to throw a little bit harder with just a couple like mechanical adjustments that were super easy and athletic to kind of make that change. And so started to throw a little bit harder. And as I did that, started to command the ball a little bit better. And then I started to feel this confidence start to kind of come back in a way where it's like, oh man, now I'm doing what I want to more than not. And so now I can actually pitch and I can use sequences, because beforehand it just didn't feel like I was commanding the ball where I wanted to. And so I was trying to execute sequences, but I wasn't executing them. So it didn't really matter, kind of what I knew or what I was taking into the game if I wasn't executing it. And then that's just kind of what we've hammered as soon as I got traded to Milwaukee. Certainly something I didn't expect at the beginning of the year. Didn't make the team out of camp with Boston, was really definitely disappointed, but used it as fuel to keep going and to keep, working the processes that, I felt a lot of confidence in. And then, I got traded to the Brewers. It was a huge surprise, but it was cool being traded so close to home. Just being an hour and a half south of American Family Field. I get a ton of family to be able to come to games on off days. I'm able to go home. Me and my fiance are able to go home. So we're both from that area. And then we just hammered the execution of things here. How many times can we get our sinker down and away? Can we get the cutter to the top rail? Can we get the sliders back foot and under? And rather than kind of focusing on the velo and the stuff of things, trying to let the iPad tell us what's good versus, hey, did we execute a pitch and are we on time? And then once that became the focus and then winning games became the focus rather than the stuff, I felt like I was just really able to be free and really compete on the major league mound versus trying to tinker and fix things.
Talk about Hookie. Talk about your pitching coach and what does he bring that's different than the other, while it was small snippets of big league pitching coaches, what does he bring? Because, the vernacular you're using, sinkers down below the zone, the cutter to the top rail, all that stuff is quintessential Hookie. Does he bring something different in the way that he tells you how to do something or continues to encourage you and make you a better pitcher?
Yeah, the thing that always impresses me is when we're throwing a bullpen and he's not looking at the catcher, he's just watching me, and I'll miss a ball arm side and he'll be like, he'll know immediately where it missed without even watching the ball, just by watching the body. And in the past, I've had pitching coaches who, are holding the iPad to see what the TrackMan's saying and kind of referencing those things. Throughout my career, I've also had coaches who haven't, and Hookie's definitely one of the guys that is really worried about the being on time and making sure we're getting to the right spots in our delivery, and knowing that if we do that, then the iPad is going to show what we want it to show. And so we don't really need to look at it as long as we're on time. And when it's so focused on the body and so focused on being on time, I feel like that allows my athleticism to kind of come through more than if I'm trying to focus on a shape or a number. And I feel like that's one of the bigger things. And then obviously, every day just holding us accountable to doing the little things. He's out there during our throwing programs and even subtle differences. Hey, you're tapping your back foot, and it's some things that I don't notice that they're kind of happening subconsciously, that he's able to kind of essentially put the bumpers up if you're bowling. And so it's like, hey, all right, bounce right back to the middle, bounce right back to the middle. He doesn't let us get too far away from what's been working and what's really good, what makes us major leaguers.
Quinn, are you a feel guy then? Does that make you a feel guy instead of an iPad guy? Because it's awesome. It's refreshing to hear someone say the coach doesn't just stare at an iPad. So are you a feel guy? Like when you throw a bullpen, are you more of a, oh, that felt really nice? Or are you one of those guys that has to grab the iPad and go, oh, it has 12.7 inches of inverted vert, so I know I was a little bit off? Or can you feel it?
Yeah, that's something that has been a change this year that I think has, again, freed me up to be competitive with the hitter rather than with myself on the mound. And yeah, like you're competitive with yourself over the week, but sometimes I'd be in a bullpen session and I'd throw a pitch that, it's a changeup, that's a ball, not competitive. And we're coming over like, hey, that one was the best one. And it's like, dude, no, it wasn't. It's a ball. Nobody's swinging at that. It's a bad pitch. I don't care what the iPad says. And so, and then also it gets frustrating when people, when you throw a pitch and it's your body, you're like, no, I can't repeat that. And then it's like, man, look at this. This is exactly what we want. And it's like, well, I can't repeat that. So it doesn't matter that that's what we want. Now it kind of feels like what we're trying to do is a lot more difficult than it really is. Like it should feel athletic, it should feel smooth, and it should feel explosive. And regardless of what the iPad says, like all year the hitters have been telling us that it's playing late. And so it's definitely good to keep an eye on things. Sometimes your slider can start to have more carry and you're going to want to fix that because honestly, that's just going to improve how you can get to that down and away spot. If it carries, it's going to stay up, versus when it feels the same. But using the iPad in the right way has been huge for me, but which is honestly not using it a lot at all.
Are you the nicest person on earth, or do you put the best songs on the radio or something? 19 straight wins. I mean, when it's Quinn Priester Day, the boys just say, you know what, we're going to hit, we're going to score more runs than the other team, and we're going to go out and get this W. 19 straight. Is that just like a weird number to you, or is it something that you're like, yeah, I can see it because everybody likes me?
I don't think it's because everybody likes me. You look at it, and there's a couple of games in there. There was a game in Miami where the offense really, really picked me up. I lost a ball over the first baseman's head and kind of let him start a rally. And then also against the Mets, I gave up 6 and 4, and the offense comes back, and Isaac Collins hits a walk-off homer, and that's just the kind of team we've been all year. And certainly there's been games where, I've contributed to the win more than others. But I think, one, it's a matter of, the dice kind of rolling your way, and then also, just being consistent, sticking to our process, and also, staying within what we do well. I think, times where strikeouts start to go up, it is what it is. That's not happening because I'm chasing the strikeout. I'm the most aggressive in the zone when I'm trying to get an out with every pitch. And I think a lot of times getting the offense back in the dugout happens quicker if you're getting balls in play. And then when we're playing as good as we were and as good as we are, just getting those guys, who are ready to hit back in the dugout and off their feet, but also ready for every ball is just something that is just the way that I've found success to help our team win. And, that might change as the future goes, but right now that's what it is. And I trust every single guy that plays defense behind me, and I want the ball in play. I want them to, help me out.
Hey Quinn, couple of things. You guys have family trips, right? With the Brewers, you guys have family trips. So
yes.
I hear your uncles are included now. So my uncle can fly on these family planes. And when your uncle flies, does he get pocket pancakes from Murph, or is that restricted to players and reporters?
Well, they got to stay in the cockpit. So yeah, my uncle and then his son, my cousin Alex, also flies for United, and there's the way that it works is they're able to pick up the charter trips, kind of like a month out or something like that in advance. And it worked out for them to both, get our flight back from Texas. We took a couple pictures, which was really fun. And obviously, my uncle came over the intercom and said a few things. It was a really cool moment, for all of us, and came back and got a couple wins. So, they might be good luck for us, and maybe they'll fly us some more in the future here.
And are you officially confirmed Game 2 starter? Or do we know that? Have they told you that, or do we know that?
We don't know that yet. Right now, I'm just staying ready for whatever role that the team needs me in, and absolutely, looking forward to getting into my first postseason game in whatever role that is. And I've been open for this year. I've came in after 3 innings. I've started, and I feel prepared and ready for whatever role Murph and Hookie and Jim and everybody there thinks is going to help us win a game.
Got it. Is Vasallo in the room? Is Mike Vasallo in the room?
He is. He's sitting over there.
Tell him what. Thanks for coming out. Because on Saturday when I did your game, he didn't show up until the game started. I know he had his appendix out, but nobody cares. Okay, he was watching his kid play. This and that. Yeah, right. Thank you. So I'm glad that he could make it for the playoffs, but not for a regular season meaningless game for you guys. So tell him I appreciate his effort.
Yeah, he's laughing. He pointed at his appendix, but I think we just stick with no excuses.
Yeah, thank you.
Exactly. You can get the appendix out anyway.
Yeah, he said he was back the next day. And then
go to the trainer's table and just have him yank it.
He's like, oh, my appendix ruptured. Who cares?
Take this out for me.
Adam Dunn had it played 2 days later. I don't understand.
Hey, Quinn, good stuff, man. Great to have you on. Thanks for the time. Hope you enjoyed it. Good luck. We'll be watching. We're excited.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too. Have a good one. Quinn Priester from the Brewers. You can watch him later this week in the DS. Okay, AJ, our slab pack ripping continues now. You just ripped a card that I think you're actually going to keep.
I am. I'm going to keep it. It's a Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card. The old, isn't this the famous upper deck one, I believe it is? And yeah, heck yeah, I'm going to keep it because I'm going to get Griffey to sign it. I'm going to get him to send it to me, which you can do, and I'm going to get Griffey to sign it, and it's only going to make it worth more. So I am all in on this card. I'm keeping it, and it is one of the coolest cards with the highest turtleneck you've ever seen and the gold chain around his neck.
Graded 9, 1989 upper deck. You get the offer for $179. It's valued at around $199. And you're like, nah, I'm keeping it. But if you wanted to sell it back instantly, you can. It's the beauty of Arena Club. AJ's going to send in and get the physical card sent to him. And you could do the same. 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase can happen for you. If you go to arenaclub.com/foul and use the code FOUL. Hey, back for 2 minutes, and the TV crowd will swing back in. Yoshida is 11 for 18 in his first plate appearance of a game this month. He's also been on fire the last couple months. He missed the first 93 games coming back from his shoulder issue. Do you know who signed him? And he was looked at as a disaster signing.
Heimblum.
Yeah, that was like the stain on him. Like, how could you? And it's just funny that Yoshida has one of the biggest hits.
He also drafted Roman Anthony.
I know. The whole deal. We get knocked for that. Like, oh, you guys are giving too much. Like, I'm sorry. That's how the team is built.
Yeah.
That's what he's supposed to do. Heimblum was supposed to build up a infrastructure. Oh, and draft players and have coaches that teach them. Like, stop. He built that whole team.
Yeah, but it's just funny. I mean, Yoshida as a whole has not worked out for the team. But then if you're a Red Sox fan and you see what he did, I mean, the dude can hit. When he's healthy, he can hit. That has not been a question.
Had the power they thought that he'd have.
Not the power.
He can get you some
terrible
knocks.
Fielder.
Yeah.
Or bad fielder, at least, right?
Well, that's why they tried to hide him in left. Like
yeah.
Like Manny Ramirez said yesterday. Oh, it's very small in left field. I don't want to play right field.
I think they thought –
no,
it's right. But I think they thought he would have been, like, okay.
Yeah, no, he was bad.
He's bad. But –
he can hit. He can
dude
get you
can
hit every once in a while.
One of the biggest hits they've had in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, he's part of a team that's in the playoffs, and they're up 1-0 the Yankees. If they win this, if they go on and make a deep run, everyone forgets everything else.
No, they're going to look at it and be like, oh, who signed him? Nice.
Boston and New York, man, all that matters is the postseason.
Yep.
LA is getting to that point too now.
Let's say better than box scores. The Los Angeles Dodgers are still good at ball. Do the Cincinnati Reds have a chance in this series?
No.
No. Jim Bowden was so firm about it when we asked him.
That record's going to be good for next year.
He was like, I'm good. They have no chance.
Hey, but they did score a run. It's the first run they've scored in the postseason since 2013.
5 runs.
So they scored a run.
Yeah. Do the Dodgers have a bullpen problem?
We've been talking about this forever. Where was Roki?
Saving him?
I guess for today.
Yeah. For the clincher.
They're going to go Yamamoto, Roki.
This was supposed to
be
garbage
this is a great
time.
matchup for Roki because Roki can come in and strike all the dudes out because they swing at everything.
Right. But you need to throw strikes, Kratz. And they had an historically crazy inning, right? 59 pitches in the 8th inning, most in a single playoff inning since at least 1988.
It's a lot of pitches. I was confused why they brought Vesia in, but as the inning unfolded, maybe this is where he sees Vesia, Enriquez, like guys that he's like, you know what, I'm probably not going to go to you in big games, which I was confused by Vesia. I really was, because I know he had some blips at the end of the season, but I thought he would be a guy you'd go to in the normal 1 or 2 run game in the 7th, like bang, that's our guy. But hey, I was wrong.
And for Dodger fans, you watched a team that put up 10 runs in a game that included Hunter Green starting. And I actually didn't think his stuff was bad. He was a little overamped in the beginning.
I mean, listen, it was kind of like what happened to Dylan Cease last year. Once Ohtani hit that home run, it kind of was like, oh, wow, what a wake-up call.
Shell-shocked.
Yeah, and then after that, I mean, it was he didn't – his stuff was good, but his location wasn't very good. And if you make mistakes with this Dodger team, man, especially in the postseason when they're awake and they're like, we have to win, and they've turned it on, it's a tough lineup to navigate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have Muncy back. If Teoscar hits, I mean, you can't throw Shohei right there. I mean, that's a nothing ball down and in. Teoscar, a little nothing ball. I mean, Tommy Edmonds, playoff Tommy Edman.
Snell pitched well.
Snell pitched great.
Yeah.
7 innings, right? You give up 2, but
that's
late.
what you want.
I mean, it's perfect. They were up 10-2 when Snell came out. Hand it off. You're like, an 8-run lead. It's close. And then all of a sudden it gets a little bit dicey. Not really, but it got a little dicey.
If you're playing a different playoff team, that could get really dicey. You're suddenly down 5, bases loaded, 1 out. I mean, the Tyler Stevenson at bat, for example, ended up costing the Reds a lot in my mind because he swung at maybe 3 or 4 pitches that were outside of the zone, including strike 3. And I know it's easier said than done. We're just talking here. But just given what was going on in that inning, Kratz, there were some ball 4s there that could have then walked in another run and really made things interesting. They were not throwing enough strikes to get guys out.
It's crazy to me. It was like, I forget who said it on the broadcast. It was almost like it was contagious. Came in and it was like, okay, this guy's consistently throwing strikes. Ball 2, ball 3. And I thought it was close. When you're at 10-5 and the bases are loaded and they're not throwing you strikes, that's the biggest thing. Like, watch the whole game, not just watch like, oh, he struck out there, so it really wasn't that big of a deal. Like, you have to pump the middle of the strike zone when you have a 6-run lead, 5-run lead. You got to pump the middle of the strike zone because even a home run doesn't tie the ball game. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes forward because Blake Snell has already done what we said we thought we would see from Doc Roberts. And it was a no-brainer. He was pitching well. But Blake Snell broke his own personal record, which I've been crying for since he was with the Rays. I don't think he's a guy you take out 3rd time through the order. He's consistently in his career, especially the last 3 years, been better the 3rd time through the order. So good for Doc, not just pulling the hook and being like, hey, we'll save you. We're going to the next round. We got to get our bullpen some work. Stuck with them. Longest outing ever in the playoffs.
That's cool. Yeah, he's got 3 great secondary pitches. And as long as he's throwing strikes,
here's
let
the
him
thing
eat.
About Matt McClain had a nice game, so good for him after he's kind of been through a crappy season. So good for him, a couple hits and all that. But the Dodgers just didn't throw strikes last night. That was the biggest problem. They just weren't throwing strikes. They were walking these guys, and the Reds swing, right? So listen, Stevenson, it happens. I've struck out with the bases loaded. And then they asked me after the game, and I'm like, yeah, well, it happens. Have you ever hit with the bases loaded? Yeah. I strike out sometimes. Everyone does. Even, Luis Arraez, I guarantee you struck out with the bases loaded. So guy strikes out, he swings at a bat. Baseball's hard, man. Especially it gets ramped up and everyone's like, oh, how do you swing at that? Because the guy's trying to get you to swing at that.
Yeah.
He's not just going to throw it down the middle and say, hit it.
He's tunneling and then trying to make you think that it's going to be in the zone, and then it's not. I get that.
Baseball's hard. Let's always remember. I think that's the biggest thing people don't understand. Baseball's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And you get into these heightened moments, and it gets even harder.
Yeah. And, hey, let's ask Jack Harris, LA Times, about this for the Dodgers, the good and the bad. The offense certainly turned it up. The Dodger bullpen did not make fans or the team or Doc Roberts or anybody feel like they're in a comfortable spot for a month-long grind. We're back. So first off, we're going to talk to Jack Harris coming up in 2 minutes about the Dodgers and the series, just giving you an idea of what else to expect later on. Keith McPherson from WFAN is going to talk to us mostly about the Yankees and that Red Sox series. So we'll go there. We'll talk about the Angels news, both past and present, Ron Washington quotes, and what could be next for the Angels as the reports flow in here about Albert Pujols. We'll get to Brian Snitker as well, stepping down for the Atlanta Braves and retiring from the managerial position. So just some things to look forward to. We'll go until 3 o'clock Eastern, and then we'll also have our post-game show probably around 5:30, 5:40. Yesterday, the
game was fast.
Game was flying. It slowed down a little bit late, but we were somewhere in the fifth, and it had only been an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know that happens sometimes, then games slow down, but I mean, at one point, that game was on pace for 2 hours.
Anything?
What?
Mid-inning pitching changes.
Oh, no doubt. It's the biggest slowdown in our game.
It's ridiculous.
By far, yes.
Can we find a way to make those faster? Can we get like one of those moving escalators, those walking conveyor belts? Get the pitcher right to the mound. You get one pitch. You've been throwing for an hour. Okay, I'm ready.
It's a commercial
spot. It is the biggest slowdown in the world. Because you could be cruising, and then all of a sudden you get 3 of those, and you're like, ugh.
It's a moneymaker.
I know. But still.
I'm with you, though. 2 hours, 25 minutes?
Mm-hmm. That's quick for a playoff game.
Wow. I didn't know it was that quick. I would have guessed like 240-ish, 225.
I mean, I barely got to go to the gym. I went to the gym, and I was like, oh, man, I got to get back.
Yeah, you're looking at the game like, wait, whoa.
I had to turn it on the television. I was like, oh, gosh.
All right, so we're back in a minute. If you have Dodger questions or Reds questions, Jack Harris covering the series, the NLDS. So we'll get to him coming up in just a minute. Hey, we've got Jack Harris back on Foul Territory, Dodgers beat writer for the LA Times. Jack, great to have you on. We're going to look a little bit at Game 1 and then spin it forward to Game 2. First off, I just want to start with Shohei Ohtani and how much he set the tone for an offense that has its ups and downs from the 2025 season. They weren't perfect, right?
Yeah, I mean, up until the last couple of weeks of the regular season here, the offense was a real question for the Dodgers. They had guys that were out injured. They weren't executing in situational spots, and they weren't getting the kind of performances from some of their stars, Shohei and Ohtani included, that they needed to. And over the last couple of weeks, all of those things got better. Ohtani specifically came into the postseason in a really good spot. And there's just something about when he has those kinds of moments, it's a lift for the team. It puts a jolt in the stadium. It was similar to Game 1 of the postseason last year for the Dodgers, when they were down 3-0 early and he hit a 3-run homer in the second. And yeah, I mean, for a lineup that, in some ways was almost not happy that they didn't have a bye this year, but was happy to not have 5 days off after the way they finished the year, to have him step in there and start the game that way. I think, yes, kind of set the tone for what you saw the rest of the night.
Jack, was this just a matter of the Dodgers offense having to flip a switch? Because they were on cruise control the whole year. No, we're going to make the playoffs. We're going to win the division. We got to play now. And all of a sudden, boom, 10 spot against Hunter Green. He had good stuff, missed some location, but still, this looked like the Dodgers offense just flipped the switch into full, we're going to be the Dodgers mode.
Yeah, this flip the switch question has been one that's kind of been hovering around the team for the last couple months. I think, frankly, and guys have said it, it's tough to bring, especially when you're coming off a World Series and you start the year in Japan early like they did, and you have all these expectations and you know that you're a really good team. It's tough to bring that highest level of intensity on a daily basis over the course of the year. And I think something that happened as the team was struggling during the second half, as their division lead was getting a lot tighter, was that they got a little bit more intentional about talking to each other, having the hitting coaches tell them, hey, when we get guys in scoring position, we got to take advantage. When we're facing good starters, we have to stick to our game plan and we have to be disciplined. A lot of guys were working through swing problems this year. And there were times where, it almost looked like swing camp, as one of their hitting coaches put it, where guys were more focused on their mechanics than just competing. And I think over the last couple weeks of the season, they've done a much better job of getting back to the identity of offense that has really defined this team for so long, which is stressing opposing pitchers. You look at the Teoscar Hernández home run, that's set up by a couple really good at-bats from Freddie Freeman and Max Muncy leading up to it to be able to draw some walks, put him under pressure, and then Teoscar Hernández gets the chance to do damage. So I think, yes, a flip has been switched. I think it's something they were able to do late in the regular season. They were hoping it would carry into the playoffs, and last night was a pretty good first sign.
You can just say all their offense is based around Max Muncy, and nobody gives him enough credit because his numbers and his trophy case aren't as big. But if this team is going to continue this offensive run, where are the areas that teams are going to attack? Because to me, all the way up through Teoscar, and obviously Tommy Edman just does what he does in the playoffs, you just have a relentless lineup that is going to wear pitching down. Where is the area that a team can attack? Say, okay, we can do this if I do this to the Dodgers lineup.
Yeah, this is still a lineup that can sometimes be prone to getting over aggressive, swinging out of the zone. I think, when you look at Shohei Ohtani last October, that was kind of the story of it for him, is for all the big moments he did have, he also got a little swing happy at times and started chasing pitches he shouldn't, starting to feel like he needed to do too much. It's something where you have to make like every guy kind of feel like they need to pick up more of the slack, right, than they probably need to. But that's difficult to do when you have so many guys in the lineup clicking like you've seen lately. If Max Muncy is being productive and getting on base, and Tommy Edman's being productive and having big hits, and Teoscar Hernández is looking like the guy who helped carry this team to a World Series last October, it allows everybody else to be a lot more disciplined in their individual approaches. It's something these guys have talked about, at the end of the season. So that's the challenge, because they are so talented. I mean, this was the really confounding part of when they struggled and were like the fourth lowest scoring offense from July to the end of August, which is there was so much talent in the room, but guys just were not sticking to their approach. So the way they've looked at it, it's always an internal thing. Like Max Muncy always says, we're playing against ourselves first and foremost. And if we can go out there and execute what we need to do, stick to our plan, have good at bats, and then take advantage of the mistakes that we do generate from opposing pitchers, we feel like, we can score as much as we need to. And that's going to make it an interesting test, for opposing pitching staff to try to figure out how to put them under a little bit more stress as the playoffs go on.
Okay, enough about the offense. We know the Dodgers can hit. Let's get to the real meat of this Dodgers problem. What the heck are they going to do in the bullpen? Been a problem down the stretch. It was a problem last night. I know they still won 10-5, but they were on cruise control, and then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, it's all hands on deck. Is Tanner Scott going to close? Is Roki going to close? Where do they? They use Vesia in an 8-run game. Where's Emmett Sheehan? What are they going to do here for the Dodgers? If you're Dave Roberts, are you like, man, we got this great team, but there's all these problems at the back end?
Yeah, the but in that sentence kind of became the story last night, which is they have all the pieces, but how do you make sure the bullpen doesn't blow it? What was really disconcerting about last night is Alex Vezina is one of their highest trusted relievers, especially of like the traditional relief group. He's been the one guy who was mostly healthy all year, who was mostly good all year, and who was more than anybody else probably like the fireman guy that they wanted to be able to turn to when situations got hot and there was traffic on base. And to see him come in an 8-run game. I mean, when he came in, the joke in the press box last night is, man, even with an 8-run lead, Dave Roberts isn't taking chances by putting in one of his most trusted guys. And to see him come in, give up a hit, and then walk a batter, like the walk in a batter with that big of a lead, it hits on this problem the Dodgers have had that Dave Roberts has talked about, which is sometimes it just looks like guys are not being aggressive enough, are almost pitching scared, are letting the mental toll and the frustrations and the lack of confidence from the whole season kind of weigh on them pitch by pitch by pitch. And then that set the tone for the rest of the inning. You know, seeing Edgardo Henriquez come in and struggle with his command, that's something he's prone to. Jack Dreyer, like I heard you guys mention it earlier, yet Tyler Stevenson helped him out by swinging at a couple pitches outside of the strike zone that one more walk, I think, could have really made that situation uncomfortable for the Dodgers. So, look, moving forward, they're going to have to start doing different things. And I think you would have seen a different game plan last night if it was less than an 8-run lead. But Roki Sasaki is going to pitch big innings. Emmett Sheehan, who was warming at the end of that 8th inning, is somebody that they're kind of hoping can be one of their best relievers now that he's been moved to the bullpen. For this series, Tyler Glasnow is going to be available down there. Blake Trinan is someone they're hoping can figure it out a little bit. They're going to probably keep him in some softer landing spots like you saw last night with a 5-run lead to try to let him build some confidence. Tanner Scott is in the same boat. But if those kind of performances continue, I think then you have to start thinking about getting really outside the box, using your starters on their bullpen days in relief, a lot more aggressively. Clayton Kershaw is kind of being saved right now to see if he needs to start a division series game early, depending on how this series goes. But that's at least somebody that if you put out there in relief, he's going to be not rattled by the moment and get the ball over the plate. So this was the big question coming into the playoffs. Could they trust their traditional relievers? There were some encouraging signs at the end of the season, but last night was a real warning sign that they're going to have to get creative with that unit because the guys that make up the traditional pen are just not in a good place right now.
Okay, so then tonight, we'll go right to tonight then. Let's say, Yamamoto has a nice start, right? He gives them 6 innings and the score is 2-2. Does he go right to Sheehan, right to Roki, and leave Tanner Scott and Trinan and these other guys out of it and go with these new toys basically that he has in the bullpen, Dave Roberts? Or does he still try to go Trinan and close it with Scott if they take the lead late on a Reds bullpen that's been really good?
I think Roki and Sheehan right now are going to be the guys that he would turn to, especially in a closer game. To me, an interesting question is if there's a situation where there's a run of lefties coming up, who do you trust in that spot? The Dodgers kind of look at Emmett Sheehan as a neutral guy that I think they would trust to face some left-handed hitters. Obviously, you brought Tanner Scott here for a reason. He's going to have to contribute at some point. Alex Vezina, I think it'll be interesting to see how much that changed their trust level in him, at least in the short term. But yeah, I think right now you're going to see Sheehan, Roki, and then maybe Tyler Glasnow, although with them being up in the series, I'd imagine they'd probably try to stay away from him just in case things go to tomorrow. But that's the place that they're at. And the blessing for this team is that they have so much starting pitching depth that they can put 3 or 4 starters in the bullpen and have them step into big roles and trust that they're going to pitch well. But it's still putting them in situations that we haven't seen very much. Emmett Sheehan has like a couple relief appearances this year in bulk innings. Roki Sasaki, for as good as those 2 outings at the end of the regular season looked, still had never pitched in relief in his life up until the last month. So it is an uncomfortable place. The Dodgers are hoping that they still have like just the overall talent, but it's trying to figure out who can you trust in what spots, who's going to go out there and throw competitive pitches. And when you don't know those answers, it makes planning out how the end of a game looks or figuring out who to turn to in a certain situation if you're Dave Roberts, just not a very fun task.
Yoshinobu Yamamoto is starting his 31st game. That is 5 more starts than he's ever had in his entire life in one season. Is there a fear they never got some days off? I know he threw on 6 days rotation, but is there a fear that he's going to tire down the end here? I get it. He hasn't in his last starts, but this is uncharted territory by a lot of starts.
There's not a fear. The Dodgers' answer to this question has been, yes, it's more starts, but it's not a huge difference in the overall innings. When he was in Japan, he would throw a lot more pitches in each of his outings than he does over here. And they've also just seen him week after week go through his training program every week, throw his javelins in the outfield, and continue to look like he's in a good spot physically every time he takes the mound. Tonight, this is the kind of game I'd expect that you see some 97s, 98s on the board with him with his fastball, which is something he does typically when in bigger moments that he wants to try to rise up to. So it's been a really impressive year from him because, like the durability, the injuries, the question of could he handle, pitching on a regular schedule or semi-regular schedule coming from Japan over to the big leagues. Like that was the whole question about him last season. And for him to embrace that, get better as the season's gone on, look really comfortable and confident in a way that we didn't really see last year, really like right up until the end of the postseason when he seemed to finally kind of trust himself in that kind of environment to go and attack big league hitters and get outs in the way that we've seen this year. So it's been a really impressive overall year. And the fact that he's been as durable as he has been speaks to just the way that he takes care of his body, that he goes about his preparation between starts, and has allowed him to take on a career high workload this year without many concerns about, is he running out of gas or anything like that.
Jack, you mentioned earlier they might be glad they're playing in the wild card series. Can I add to that and ask you their feelings on this? I mean, not only do they get to play the wild card series, I know their pitching won't be perfectly lined up for when they get to if they win and get to play Philly, but not only do they get these extra games to try to figure something out, but, and I mean this is with all due respect, but they got to play the Reds, a team that most people think on paper is overmatched by them. So is that also a blessing for them? Yes, they have to play 2 more or possibly 3 more games, and yes, the Reds could still win this series. But if you're the outsider and you're a Dodger fan, you're like, okay, we get extra bats for Shohei. We don't get the time off. We get to look at guys from our bullpen, whether it's Roki, Sheehan, Glasnow, whoever we need to put in places. And we're playing a team that, quite honestly, we should beat in 2 games.
Yeah, I think the latter part about the pitching and the bullpen specifically is the thing I was thinking about coming into this series. The lineup not having to take 5 days off, again, I think that's a net plus, but it's not something that, you saw the Dodgers last year. They were able to kind of overcome that pretty quickly. To me, the benefit of having things work out this way is that you potentially gave yourself an opportunity exactly like last night where you could build a big lead, where you could throw your relievers in what should have been lower leverage spots and see if they can build some momentum so that by the time you do get to the DS, if you advance and you're facing a much better Phillies lineup, at least you've had a couple games where the bullpen had success. And that's what made last night really frustrating, I think. Now, at least as the 8th inning, as it pertains to the 8th inning, you look at the ninth, Blake Treinen came out and looked okay. Yeah, he gave up the 1 hit on the ball that Justin Dean couldn't catch in center. But, that's a confidence building moment. And if you go into tonight's game and Roki Sasaki can have a good outing if he's called upon, and Emmett Sheehan can be good if he's called upon, then that's going to give those guys confidence as you move forward. So that is where I think in this specific circumstance and playing a team like the Reds as opposed to the Mets, who would have obviously provided a much bigger challenge with what they bring offensively, this should be an opportunity for the Dodgers to, especially with the one area of their team that needs some confidence, build it. But you still have to execute. And as you saw in the 8th inning last night, if you're not throwing strikes, if you're not being aggressive, if you're not even giving yourself a chance to get outs as efficiently as you need to, then this Reds lineup is still pretty good enough to make things interesting and string a rally together. So that's what's going to be key to me the next couple nights. Can the Dodgers not only win this series, but build some momentum in the bullpen along the way and learn a little bit about who they trust the most in leverage spots as they move forward in October?
Very few people are 100% healthy going into the playoffs, but the Dodgers have 2 kind of limited players on their bench, Will Smith and Tommy Edman. Tommy Edman, will he get back to center field or is the ankle not going to allow him to do that in this entire sprint, in this entire postseason? And Will Smith being the third catcher, pinch hitter off the bench, is that hand on the path to healing to be able to get behind the dish as early as the NLDS against the Phillies?
Yeah, with Tommy Edman, I think in the short term, they're going to probably try to keep him on the infield. We saw this earlier this season with this ankle injury where when he's in the outfield and he's having to make these kind of bigger turns and then go into a sprint, like those are the things that bother the ankle a little bit more than when he just has to shuffle laterally at second base. So that could change, depending on how the ankle feels moving forward. But I think for right now, they would prefer to just keep him at second base. Will Smith, Andrew Friedman said yesterday the fracture in his hand is healed, which is a really big development because that means that's what's kind of allowed him to start ramping up his activity and intensity and taking swings and live at bats on the workout day and throwing the ball again and things like that. So Dave Roberts has left the door open for him potentially starting this week. I think that would probably only happen, especially now, if they lose tonight and are facing elimination tomorrow. But the hope is that, yes, maybe as soon as the DS, the throwing strength will be back to where he needs it to be. The swings, he'll have taken enough of them to feel confident that, okay, if I go and take 5 at-bats one night, I'm not going to wake up with my hands swollen and in pain and unable to play the next. Those are kind of the last boxes that he needs to check. But, yeah, for where this situation was a week ago, I think the fact that Will Smith is on the roster, available to pinch hit now, and could potentially be back to starting games in the next week or so is a really positive development.
Jack, great insight. We always love having you on, so we appreciate the 10, 12 minutes here with us. Enjoy the game tonight, and thanks for joining us.
All right, thanks, guys.
That's Jack Harris. Make sure you check out his work in the LA Times, and you can follow him at BYJackHarris on Twitter. Also, Dodgers postgame show is lit. Last night, about 1,000 people live watching Alana and Clint talk about the Dodgers good and bad, and they'll do it again this evening, so check it out live on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. They'll post it afterward. We're swinging back to talk about Brian Snitker moving on from his manager role with the Braves. Hey, Andrew Kittredge is going to be the opener for this game too, and we're going to do the post-game show. So he's going to go after Tatis, Machado, maybe Bogarts, and then Shota, or as some call him, Mike Imanaga, will come in to handle some left-handers. Cool?
Yeah. I mean, Kittredge, though, you're blowing one of your best relievers late innings in the first inning. And then
too cute. I mean, it works sometimes.
I mean, yeah, it works sometimes.
To me, it works sometimes, and it doesn't work sometimes.
But my whole thing is I get it, but again, Kittredge is one of your best guys. He's been one of your best. You need him in the. What happens if that lane of same people comes up in the 7th or the 8th?
They're going to bring someone else in, like Palencia.
Palencia over an inning. I don't know if he's good to go. I mean, Keller's your closer. I get it, but wouldn't it be nice to have Kittredge just pitch the ready anytime?
Dude, Palencia will die for this game. He will pitch.
I know, and we love Palencia. I'm just saying, I don't know.
You literally said that.
Craig Counsell loves doing this and getting cute in the postseason and all that stuff, and it's what he does. So, I mean, he knows better than we all do.
I love the move. Doesn't mean it's going to work, but I love the move. Don't give the Padres any chance to breathe. You beat them. You make the toughest matchup right out of the gate. You know they don't hit lefties very well. Shota comes in. Maybe Shota still gives you 5 1/3 before he has to face that. He has to face that route of the order again. To me, that I love it. I'm a Craig Counsell fan. And what'd you call it? Gimmicks in the postseason? I was part of them. I saw it. I like it.
What was the ultimate gimmick? The Wade Miley 1 out?
That made some people really angry. I ain't going to mention no names, but that made some people really angry.
Because you're supposed to say who's starting?
No, you're just supposed to, when you have these meetings, you're supposed to kind of let people know that, hey, this could happen.
You mean the TV meetings?
I just said there's some people that weren't very happy about that.
Yeah, but in fairness,
whatever.
I mean, they don't have
But
to.
you also have to understand, you've been in those meetings. People you don't run to the other team and say, "Hey, we're not, certain people that that used to be."
I mean, I'll say it. I did those meetings
on the other side.
I did some of those meetings with.
We want it for our own info, so we're ready.
We're not telling anyone anything,
No.
but hey, they don't trust you. Brad Ausmus straight up told us in meetings that he didn't trust us, so he wasn't going to tell us crap. I'm saying it. He said it to me. It's his words. So I was like, okay, guess we're not learning anything today. Hot corner time. We were wondering if Brian Snitker was going to continue to manage the Atlanta Braves, and that will not be the case. This is it for him. So the 2025 season is his last as a manager in baseball. He'll stay with the team in an advisory role. Thoughts on this and how this goes down behind the scenes?
I think this was ultimately Snit's decision. I know I had talked to him about this when I saw him, and I was there when he managed his first game and won his first game. I was on the team in 2016. He's 70-ish years old, and this was his 49th year with the Braves organization. Next year would be the 50th. I know he didn't just want to completely get out of it, but he also said, I don't know that I want to go through 162 games as the manager. So I think that's what led to this decision from Snit, and ultimately it was Snit's. But hey, you know what? God bless you, Snit. I hope you get that 50th year with Atlanta. I know you're going to go into an advisory role. Just, do what you do, man. At some point, listen, here's the thing about Snit. He has grandkids he loves spending time with, and he gets an opportunity now to go and spend time with them. So God bless you, Snit. Enjoy the rest of your life, man, and you've had a great run. You won a World Series, something only two managers in the history of Atlanta in any sport can say. You and Bobby Cox are the only two guys to ever win a professional sports championship in Atlanta.
And he's seen this organization for 49 years. That's such an impressive number. But let's say, only for hypothetical, that AA, Alex Anthopoulos, goes to him and says, hey, you want to manage again this year? And Snit says, do you want me to manage again this year? If I'm Alex Anthopoulos, I say, our winning window is right now. If you're not full 100% in, because maybe I'm thinking I might manage, I might not. Okay, I'm in. Okay, then what are you going to change from this year would be the next question to Alex Anthopoulos. Because something has to change. You can't just always say, all right, the injuries. Yes, the injuries are a thing. But other teams have injuries, some not as big as the Braves. How are you going to make a change? Because to me, I think there does need to be some type of change because it's not going to happen with personnel on the field. The team he has is the team that I think they're going to give him, adding a piece here or there.
But what are you saying? You wanted him to keep going or what?
No, I'm saying that that's the conversation. I don't think Alex Anthopoulos was just saying, hey, do you want to manage next year? No, I'd rather not. Okay, we'll move on. To me, if he says, yes, I want to manage next year, Alex Anthopoulos isn't firing him. But if you're a good GM, which I know Alex Anthopoulos is, he's built this team, he's given these extensions, good or bad, they've put a good product out there, you need to have an answer of what are you changing? How is it going to be different? Because you play the same 8 guys every single day for the entire season, which I think is a bonus. You've played this whole time without a shortstop. That's comparable to the other players around the field. But you have to have something that he's going to change. You can't just say, we're just going to go out there and see, throw the balls out there and see what the boys do. No, I think he needs to have a plan. How are we going to do something different?
Okay, I have a plan. I'm going to sign a shortstop, and I'm going to cross my fingers that not all 5 starters are missing a good chunk of the year. That's step 1.
Yeah.
Braves finished strong.
Yeah.
Does anybody think the Braves are in a bad spot for next year?
No. They need Austin Riley back. He missed a chunk of the year.
Yep.
What do they do with Albies? They got to make that decision.
Yep. He's going to come back.
I mean, is Baldwin or Murphy your catcher?
Both.
Or do you trade
have all
Murphy?
the answers.
You try and trade Murphy.
Maybe, but I think they're both
Matt
back.
Olson had a nice year. Michael Harris needs to be second half Michael Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Acuna needs to stay healthy because once he came back, he was pretty good. And then you got to figure out the bullpen. Iglesias is a free agent. You're going to have to make some bullpen moves.
Yeah, but that's not on Snit. That's on Alex.
I know. But
yeah.
Snit maybe just didn't want to do it. Like I said, Snit's been doing this for a long time.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying.
They probably went to Snit and said, hey, you can manage again, or you can work once a month and make a travel to the minor leagues and come around and this and that. It's just like, that don't sound so bad.
I think, I'm also pointing out probably some of the minority online, but some people were like, oh, Snit, he's got to be gone. Like, this is the problem. Like, shut up.
No.
This has nothing to do with Snit this year.
People love Snit.
Yeah. And I think he should get the ultimate respect. They'll obviously honor him at the ballpark. I think it's kind of cool if you had figured this out like with a week or two to go because the team wasn't in it, and then you get to be in uniform and get the thanks. I know he didn't know, but like go to dinner with Alex and like sit down and think about it.
This was a Snit decision.
It's okay. I mean, he's going to get honored. It's fine, right? I love Snit. I thought he did a great job. He's super emotional. They all show up at the press conference today. Kratz, he says he feels like he left the team in a better spot than when he entered. I would agree with that. And you brought them a World Series title, and you brought them consistent winning. I mean, you can't ask for much more. Nobody wins back-to-back or even bunches titles together in a while now, right? So what he did is about as much as you can wish for if you're a baseball fan.
If you look at their 5 starters that were supposed to start games for them this year, it is ridiculous. The fact that Spencer Strider, I think, had the most starts, and he didn't come back from the injury very well. Like he didn't have the life on his fastball. Not everybody comes back from Tommy John the first year and is exactly who they were before. Not everybody, but it's crazy. Schwellenbach was down. Did they get a single start out of Reynaldo Lopez, who was an all-star last year? Like you are
a couple early.
Yeah, I don't remember when he went down, but it's crazy. Like you build a team, and then you were trying to. The Braves do better than I think any organization, calling guys up that step in and are huge contributors to the starting rotation. Huge. Schwellenbach just did it just the other year. Smith-Shawver just did it the other year. But when you have to do it for all 5 guys, that's almost impossible. Even the Dodgers struggled with that, and they had 10 starters to begin the season.
Yeah, Hurston Waldrop, you mentioned. He had a really nice find himself moment here with the team.
My X Factor just drove in too for Detroit, by the way.
Very nice. So anyway, congratulations to Snit. Let's move on because there are a number of other manager and front office changes going on. Let's hit one that won't take up too much time, but Bill Schmidt has been running point for the Rockies for a minute. He's the GM. And he decided that he's going to step down. You never know how the conversations go behind the scenes, but he said he felt like the team needed to go in a different direction. I don't doubt that based on how the Rockies performed this year in the past few years.
He's been there for so long.
He's been there for a long time. I mean, he was in a secondary role. Yeah, and now he's leading the pack, but they need something else. I mean, the Rockies are going to do an external search, and if there's one team that needs to think outside the box more than anyone else, it's Colorado. It's such a unique environment.
Yes,
it's so difficult.
You got to go crazy there.
Crazy. And nobody's going to care. Rockies fans are all for whatever you want to do. First of all, they're going to show up. Second of all,
you're good for anything.
They're like, try it out. I think we're in a place now where I'm going to mention this. I don't remember the exact details, but Dan O'Dowd, I think later in his tenure was trying some piggybacking and some other things. And I think if he had done that now, people would be like, yep, let's try that kind of stuff. It was a little early because people were like a little more get off my lawn still back then.
I did talk to some people there in Colorado that know the organization a little bit. And the thing about Dan O'Dowd is like, you got to get sinker ballers. You got to get sinker ballers. And these people were saying, actually, no, you need to get fly ball pitchers. And we contact guys that throw the four-seamer up and get pop-ups and get strikeouts because that way it limits the balls in play. If sinker ballers can't make the ball sink, guess where it sinks? Over the fence.
Right. And you need 3 center fielders.
And you need 3 athletic as hell guys. You need dudes that can mash. When have the Rockies been good?
When they mash.
I
want infield mash, outfield track
defense,
stars.
And I need guys that can get punch outs.
Mm-hmm.
So you need high velo, high guys up in the zone.
And all of what we're saying is not easy to assemble.
No, I know, but I'm just saying you got to try something different.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying these sinker ballers, and as soon as they make one mistake, they get whacked. They don't have a lot of high velo guys.
I think they do have a lot of high velo guys, but I think the pitching only just hit on one specific thing. No. Out of the pen, they've thrown a bunch of guys. They don't throw strikes. They're not developing them in the minor leagues to be able to throw strikes. They're rushing them to the big leagues because they throw 97 to 100. And then in the big leagues, guys are just like, no, ball. My argument to that, AJ, would be no place in the big leagues has as poor of or has a larger variance of induced vertical break than in Colorado. So guys that have 17 inches of induced vertical break, which is just medium across the board, it's like 1.5 inches less in Colorado. So they're not getting that induced break. But guys have had great seasons there. Like, it's not what do those guys do and then mimic that. Jorge De La Rosa had a great career there. Kyle Freeland, I think he was like almost an 8-WAR player his second year, I think like 17 or 18. What do they do? Mimic that.
Ubaldo. Also, if you get somebody
was a high fastball split guy.
If you get somebody who has sick IVB, then but also somebody, you're saying the induced vertical break goes down. Well, then get somebody who is like top 10%, and then it's not going to be as much of a factor.
Yeah, but you're not gonna get if you get Josh Hader, if you get Jonah Tong, two dudes, I'm just thinking about like unique guys with like induced vertical break, that's going to go down. So maybe there's something in that formula, if you're all about the analytics, that's going to give you those answers. Like Jorge De La Rosa, the only reason I would keep bringing him up is because he grew up in Mexico City. He pitched at higher elevation. There's something to do with that, and they need to just hammer that. They need to hammer it and say, no, the rest of the league's doing this. We're going to do this. If it doesn't work, where are they? They're the same place they are now with 44 wins.
Yeah, and Kyle Freeland did that for the record. He grew up in Denver. He's an average. His numbers park factor in have been an average starter, which is fine. He's a 3-4 starter for them in that scenario. His ERA looks bad, but his numbers look good. We got to step aside. Let's hit the Yankees Red Sox series with Keith McPherson joining us next, the great WFAN radio host. Uh-oh, Kratz, we've got a battle here. One of their Friar Territory hosts, Mike Cameron, disagrees with you. You got to go with your everyday guys if you're the Yankees, especially a guy who faced elite pitching all year. So he's primed. If anything, he said he's putting Bellinger in center and Rosario in left field. Your thoughts?
I'm still reading this. I'm not. Defends the Yankees' decision to start Amed Rosario last night. I mean, I'm not saying you gotta play him for Jazz. I'm saying Amed Rosario has to be in there. So you're saying, so he was saying you have to play your elite hitters. So who's Cameron saying shouldn't be in there?
He's saying, if anything, you reconfigure the outfield, yes. And you take Grisham out, you put Belly in center, Rosario in left, and you put, and obviously Judges in right.
But then the argument is, then why is Grisham not in there? Grisham had 30 home runs.
So did Jazz.
Right. So the argument's both ways. To me, if you're 6 for,
so did Ben Rice.
Why did Ben Rice not play over Austin Wells? I think the catching position's a little different. You know that, AJ. Maybe Max Fried and Austin Wells, worked well together. I'm not sure. If there's a framing metric in there, because, I don't know about that part of it. But either way, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. You have to get Amed Rosario in there. I don't think Mikey Cameron's disagreeing with me on that. The guy was 6 for 9, not 6 for 8, 6 for 9. And you got to get him in the lineup somewhere. So one of the 230 home run guys, I guess, has to sit.
Yeah, I mean,
he's saying Fried and Rice should have been in there.
Paul Goldschmidt had 2 hits yesterday.
Should have been in there.
Goldie had 2 hits, and I agree on the Wells.
Goldie's fine. Goldie's raked lefties.
That's his thing. Only play him against lefties.
I got no problem with that.
Wells at catcher, I'm okay with.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. But Jazz, I think, should have been in there somehow, some way.
Okay. Didn't happen.
I know. Didn't happen, and now we get to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. And it's a good problem for them. They have options. But that leaves you to field more scrutiny because you have good options to choose from. That's what happens. And if you don't win a game, those options get scrutinized. That's how sports works. We get to sit here and talk and not have the pressure of the job. That's how it works. But good answer there from Cam.
Appreciate you, Mikey.
In on New York baseball. He's back on the show with us. You
I'm
can listen to him
surprised
every
he's
night
talking today.
on WFAN. What? Because of the Yanks? Well,
All
no,
I
let's
do is
bring him
talk.
right into
I
this.
get paid to
Yeah.
talk.
I know,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
still, I thought you'd be all clogged up from all them tears you were crying last night when Jazz didn't play.
Nah, I'm not crying
This
any
didn't
tears. That wasn't a
happen.
one-game elimination. I was on the radio for 4 hours last night after the game. I've said everything. I've gone over everything. I'm ready to drive right back to the Bronx today. What's up, guys?
What's up? So summarize it for me. What was the biggest talking point last night for you and how you were fielding calls and how you were answering them and mixing in what you would do if you were the Yankees?
The turning point of the game, the topic that was coming up on the call screen was taking out Max Fried to go to Luke Weaver. And honestly, you can talk a bunch of ways around it. It's compounded because you see Garrett Crochet stay in there and throw 117 pitches, retire 17 batters in a row. And then afterwards, Alex Cora says, yeah, we build up our starter in the regular season to get to this postseason where we could push him. Like Max Fried at 102 pitches was pitching a way different game than Garrett Crochet was. He had runners on. I won't say he was laboring, but he did have a 24-pitch inning, a 20-pitch inning. And on that last play that he fielded his position and he raced Duran to first base, when I'm in the stadium and not watching on TV, I'm asking the guys around me, did he look tired? Does he look exhausted? Does he look like he's done? And maybe, exerting extra energy to get that play right there. That's where it was like, okay, you're over the magic number, which I don't know. For some reason, if you hit triple digits now, it's the witching hour where everybody's like, this guy's going to turn into a pumpkin. Boone went and took the ball out of his hands to go to Luke Weaver. And I've been saying hindsight is 20/20. Luke Weaver is 50-50. Luke Weaver has not been the same Luke Weaver this year. He faces the 8-9 hitter. He already has an out in the game. He should be able to get that done. He goes up 0-2 on Ceddanne Rafaela, and it's like, bro, an 11-pitch at bat. He wins it. Sogar doubles. It's like all the little things start to come out. Judge's arm is exposed, and then Alex Cora is playing chess while Boone is playing checkers. He puts in Masataka Yoshida. First pitch, boom, the lead is gone. And just that little sequence right there is what everybody wanted to talk about. There were some other things, obviously, with the lineup. Definitely with Jazz getting into the game late as a defensive replacement. And then Jazz going through his wardrobe, going through his clothes and not, facing the media. And, I just think Yankee fans were down because no one was surprised. They struck out 13 times. They didn't work one walk. They scored one run on a home run. Remember Buck Martinez saying they're not a good team. If they don't hit home runs, they can't score. Like so many of these little things that we've seen all year, so many of these little things that we've seen in the Aaron Boone era, they happened last night. And people are sick of it, but they're not out of it. They got to come back tonight with Carlos Rodón and force a game 3. And I think the advantage can shift into the Yankees' favor.
Agreed. Here's my thing about Max Fried. They even said it on the broadcast. If I'm sure you watched the broadcast last night, where they said after he came in and got the first out, it was the lefty. It was Duran. He got Duran out in the 7th. They even said before that this is his last hitter. Boone is keeping him out there. They have Weaver ready to go, right? Which makes total sense because I guarantee you that's the way they've done it all year, right?
Yep.
The biggest key to that whole inning was you walk Ceddanne Rafaela, who swings at everything. Okay, he's really hard to walk. And in this situation, it was a great at bat. I give him a ton of credit. But then it was like things it was one of those innings where they only gave up 2. Let's not forget, they only gave up 2 runs. It wasn't like they gave up 10 runs. They gave up 2 runs. Okay? But Sogard getting the hit, taking advantage of Judge's arm, Yoshida getting the hit, and then they shut it down again. So I really don't have a problem as big of a problem as all the other people do with them taking Fried out, because I guarantee you that's what they had done all year. And listen, Max Fried, 6 1/3, no runs. That's a hell of an outing in the postseason. Like, he should be getting cheered. Like, great job. It's not his fault.
He did.
And I guarantee you he wanted to stay in,
ovation.
right? So anyway,
I'll say this.
I don't know. Maybe I look at it differently.
No, but don't you think Max Fried could have got those last 2 outs, the 8-9 hitter? Don't you think he has enough in his arsenal to get Rafael out?
They're both righties, and what if he doesn't? And then you're like, you should have taken him out. Right?
It's a plan. It's a script. It's predetermined. They talk about this stuff during the games. That was a clean inning for Luke Weaver to come in with 1 out. You can't get us 2 outs. Luke Weaver has not been great. He won't be back next year. It's a tough spot. I feel like a lot of people were saying too, and I agree, they managed this game like it was a regular season game. There is no tomorrow. Max Fried might not get another start. Push him. There is no tomorrow. You don't go to one of your, average relievers who, it's not 2024 anymore when he turned into your closer after the guy that you told us was your closer, Clay Holmes, couldn't get it done, and you had to break glass in case of an emergency and go to Luke Weaver as the closer. We haven't seen the ferocious jungle cat that we saw last year. So I don't know. Those things get compounded, but I think you stop right here. They did not hit with that lineup they put out. They took out Ben Rice. They took out Jazz Chisholm. Those are 2 guys that had great years, 26 home runs, 31 home runs. You left a bunch of RBI on the bench. That lineup did not work. And then later in the game, you can't get Ben Rice in a bat, and you put Jazz Chisholm in the game as a defensive replacement, and Alex Cora is over there grinning because he's like, okay, you get Amed Rosario 3 ABs, and you put Jazz in as a defensive replacement. I'm going from Crochet to Chapman. You're still facing 2 dominant lefties. And when Jazz comes up and flies out weakly to right field, it's like, what are we doing here? You should have the righty to come off the bench. You could have configured that differently. What I'll say before I pass it back to you is I feel like Jazz should have been in at second base. If you wanted to play Amed Rosario, who you barely played since you got him at the trade deadline, play him at third. Ryan McMahon, we would have made no issues, no qualms about Ryan McMahon. We understand what his bat is and isn't. Put him there, and then also you have Caballero to be a pinch runner at any point late in the game. Caballero is the guy that can play 6 different positions. So, yeah, it's tough. I just want to flush this game and get to game 2 as quick as possible.
Okay, well, let's look at game 2. Is there a chance that the Yankees, if things go off the rails early, 2-0 lead by the Red Sox, they panic? By they, I mean Boone panics and takes Rodón out, because in a playoff game, when it's back against the wall, life on the line, you go right to the bullpen. The bullpen hasn't shown they can get you 9 outs, let alone 15 outs.
No, you're riding with Carlos Rodón tonight. There is no panic. Even if he does give up a long ball, which we've seen him do, it's his game tonight, and he's got that bulldog in him, a little more so than Max Fried. Max Fried is soft-spoken. It's his first year in New York. He's been great, but he should have pushed back a little bit against Boone, but I guess they had already agreed in the dugout, go get me one more batter. Rodón tonight is not going to come off that mound. If it's 2-0, he's going to say, let me fight, let me continue. And they used the bullpen last night. I think the only guy they'll stay away from tonight is Luke Weaver. I don't think you're in a rush to get to Fernando Cruz. I don't think you're in a rush to get to any of these guys tonight. It's Carlos Rodón for 6-7 innings, 6-7.
Okay, we can debate pitching all we want. The Yankees scored how many runs last night?
1. That's what I'm saying. Take all of this out. That lineup that you put together with your analytics and you thought you were going to throw at Alex Cora and Garrett Crochet, the least likely of candidates. The guy that was the whipping boy all year. Fans didn't want him to start. They wanted Caballero to start at shortstop. Anthony Volpe, right? Anthony Volpe's the one that gets 2 hits off Crochet, that hits the solo shot to wake the stadium up and really get it going. The rest of those guys, Stanton, we expect Stanton to be a postseason performer. I expect him to show up tonight. Grisham, as we're talking about how many home runs they left off the field with Jazz and Ben Rice, Grisham hit 34 homers this year. He went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. Tonight, they have to mash. Can they score 4 runs, 5 runs, and hold the Red Sox to another 3? I think they can.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. What was the feeling like when it had bases loaded, no outs? And here comes Giancarlo against Chapman, and all of a sudden it goes from 95 to 101. What was the feeling like? Were you thinking, this is our chance? We're going to turn it around right here and then strike out, weak, pop up, punchy.
I thought we had a better chance when we had Goldie on, Judge on in the first inning against Crochet, and Stanton grounded into a double play. Late in that game with Chapman, former teammates, he's faced him before. I'm like, Chapman knows what to throw. It was a 4-pitch at bat. I knew that Chapman had Stanton, and so did Cora. Cora said, he had no doubts that Chapman would win that matchup against Giancarlo Stanton. So, yeah, I knew they were setting us up for failure. I knew that we were getting excited there. And, it's a different game if David Bednar doesn't give up that one run. It's a different game if you're just trying to tie a 2-1 game down one. But, ultimately they got caught. Like, Jazz shouldn't have been in that position. And Stanton didn't have his best night, and he's facing a guy that knew what to throw at him to put him away.
You have to give us the pulse of Yankees fans on this one. Aaron Judge, 2 hits last night. Is he back? Is he postseason Aaron Judge now, or is this not good enough because it didn't?
He's the MVP. And, I was laughing because I was getting some tweets about Judge should have hit the ball out of the park in the 9th inning instead of driving a single. And I'm like, this is the batting champion. This is a guy that hit 331. He did his job. Like, if he struck out all night, it'd be different. He did get a hit. Like, Crochet is a monster, and Judge gave him that. He said he's the best pitcher in the game. He has struck Judge out, 11, 12 times this year. I will say this about Judge. Judge did have a look, and he was on some of Crochet's pitches. That last inning where I think, Cabby got a hold of one, it got caught in the outfield. Goldie got a hold of one, it got caught in the outfield. We were all sure this was the time, right? This last matchup between Judgy and Crochet. Judgy is going to win. He fouled a couple off, ultimately strikes out. But, I don't think anybody is talking about Aaron Judge folding or being, not himself in the postseason. I don't think anyone's saying he's back either. Let's see him hit a homer tonight. Let's see him hit a double tonight. Let's see him continue in game 2 and literally save the season.
Only thing I'll say before we let you go is you're wrong. Cal Raleigh's the MVP. But other than that, you have great takes, and I love some of the things you say.
I'll take Ben Rice at catcher over Cal Raleigh. We don't do that.
You just lost all fans with that take. You just lost all fans.
We're not doing that over here. It's Judge.
What?
Did he hit 62? Did he hit 62?
Ben Rice.
Did he break the American League home run record? That's the only way I was going to give it to Cal Raleigh. He didn't hit 62. God. It's Judge.
The most by a switch hitter. He broke Mickey Mantle's old record.
Please.
He broke the catcher record. He broke all the records.
Sounds great. Stack up all of the other categories.
You just said Ben Rice over him at catcher. By the way, you just said Ben Rice over a platinum glove winner at catcher. You just said Ben Rice. I just want to make sure that
we're Yankee homers. We ride with the pinstripes. Yeah, give me Ben
Rice
over
the Yanks didn't
Cal
even
Raleigh.
Start Ben Rice in game 1 at catcher.
Wow, yeah. I guarantee it. Cal Raleigh's facing Garrett Crochet.
You are right. Thanks,
Keith.
guys.
You're the real quick. Sorry, you're the self-proclaimed leader of the fans out there. What do the fans need to do tonight? What do Yankee fans need to do tonight for their team to be pushed? Because we talk about home field advantage all the time. Get them. What do they need to do?
I mean, and I definitely don't proclaim myself. I'm blessed. Like, I've been out there before I was in the media, so I think there's a lot of people that have seen me go to the stadium for the last 10 years and then become a radio host, become a content creator. So, like, I do lead, but I don't say that I'm the leader. Like, there are other people out there. But I'll say this. It is hard to get that stadium up and rocking and going when they're not hitting. When 17 batters in a row get retired, when you give Crochet a 6-pitch inning, it's like you get up and there's nothing to get up for. So tonight, the Yankees got a hit. And I'm telling you, with all those different sound effects and lights and things that the Yankees put on in the stadium, the main thing that will get the real Yankee fans excited and rowdy and loud and rocking that place is them stringing together hits, hitting the ball out of the ballpark, putting some runs on the board. We need offense. That is what makes people excited. That's what makes people loud and happy in there. So they got to score.
Keith, enjoy it or stay nervous through it. But thanks, man. You're the best. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Best in the business. Love the show. Thanks, guys.
Same to you, dude. Love listening to Keith McPherson in New York on WFAN. You should do the same. He'll have a lot for you post-game. BetMGM locks yesterday. Wow, what a day for the boys.
For
Besides me, I don't care. I finished strong, and I'm rooting
Pat
for my
picked the
boys.
easiest bet in the league.
I'm surprised he did money line and not run line. That was my only surprise. Pap going minus 200.
The wind was blowing in.
Oh, well, we sorry, I screwed that up. We penalized him for the Tigers thing.
As
he picked an early game. In fairness, he sends his picks in the morning, so he did do it right. By a technicality, that's how it looks. But he did have a good day. Whatever. Anyway,
I had a better
here's
day.
where we're at. Yes, you had a fantastic day. So why don't you lead the way?
Oh, I forgot what I did.
Oh, come on.
I'm just kidding. I got to look it up because it's been so long ago. I send these in the morning.
So do I.
All right, Yamamoto over 6.5 punchies. Why? Because the Reds strike out a lot, and he's got the splitter and the current cutter and the 98s and all that stuff.
And the Dodgers bullpen is scary.
And he's going to have to go 8 innings. And then I'm parlaying that with the Red Sox and the Yankees over 7.5 because you just had Keith McPherson on. What did he say? The Yankees are going to score 4 or 5, he thinks, and then Rodón bound to give up a 3-run homer because that's just kind of what Rodón has done his whole career. He has 5 good innings, and all of a sudden, whack, he gives up a 3-run homer. So I think that gets over, and that gets me to plus 241.
Nice. Yeah, these teams can score. I like that. Kratz, you're up.
I'm going over with Ben Rice. Ben Rice is going to get me more than 1.5 total bases. That's coming out at, I think, I forget now, plus 105, plus
130, bud.
Plus 130. Ben Rice has seen Bello pretty well, some good at-bats, gotten some hits, and he was chomping at the bit to be out there last night. So, big night for Ben Rice. Okay.
We got about a minute. Here's the deal. I'll go over mine on the next break, and same with Mr. Jonathan Papelbon, who will come through there. So we'll get to those two. Stay with me for what else did I have to say? Oh, some little notes that have been coming out. Like, it sounds as if Bo Bichette is still not running. So people are getting worried that he's not going to be ready for this round. Vladdy actually had a quote basically saying, like, we got to win and then we'll have him for the next round, even though the Jays are not going that far. Just wanted to throw that out there because we don't have time anywhere else. But
okay.
To me, that's massive. To not have Bo.
Yeah.
So.
Had a good year, too.
Very good year.
And he's a free agent.
RBIs.
Yep. Hey, make sure you subscribe to Foul Territory. Next goal is 300,000 subs. We're in the mid-270s right now. It's baseball the way it should be covered. So if you're watching us wherever or listening to us later on, we'd love if you just hit a free button on YouTube for us or on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. It helps. It's free. Oh, baby. We said after we found out that Ron Washington was out as manager for the Angels that they need a big name voice who will tell Artie Moreno, no, you don't know ball, I know ball. Well, I think they might have found someone. His name's Albert Pujols, and according to Ken Rosenthal and some others with The Athletic, he seems to be the front runner. In that article, they say one source told them it might even be up to Albert at this point. Also, it sounds like Perry Minasian, the GM, has nothing to do with this. This is Artie saying, I want Albert, and Albert has the call if he wants to do it. He's also the manager for Team Dominican Republic in the WBC. You probably can't do that.
No, you can't do that.
You can't do that. So he has that decision because that is a big legacy thing to be able to do. If you're Albert, you might want to do that.
Manager of the Angels, then after he's done with the Angels, he can always go back to the Dominican Republic.
Exactly, and the Angels' job might not be available for you in a year. So what do we think about Albert Pujols potentially managing the Angels?
We'll see what happens. I don't know. Does he change that much? I don't know. I never played with Albert. I was around Albert a little bit. He's a Hall of Fame hitter, and he's a player, and I don't know. I mean, Ron Washington had a lot of experience. Didn't help.
They had a bad divorce, by the way, that people are overlooking, and now they're saying Artie loves Albert, so clearly they cleaned it up.
Do they have to pay him, or can they just say this is your clause, your after your career clause?
Albert likes money.
They can just not pay him.
Albert likes money.
Be like, Albert, you're the manager? Oh, yeah, well, this is your $1 million you get every year.
He's going to make them give him more. Albert likes
obviously.
money. Yes. But he is already being paid $1 million per year over a 10-year span.
Yeah.
After he retires, it's part of his personal services agreement. But Kratz, remember, in 2021, they cut him. And I'm looking at this article from Ken back then, no pomp and circumstance. And it was kind of ugly. And he didn't want to be on the bench. And it was a painful thing, Ken said, to even write about it because of the legacy of Albert Pujols, but he was not performing for them for a while and was able to have a nice finish to his career. But hey, they've clearly patched things up, and now they're trying to see if he can rescue the Angels.
It's a good thing they patched it up. I love to hear that because he signed a massive contract with them and he could have been part of their history. My thing is, go back to history. How many superstars, Hall of Famers, become good managers? I don't know, but maybe he's going to be the one that will be one of the first.
He was certainly optimistic as he was in spring training with the team, 6 months ago. They lost 99 games in 2024. And then digging up some quotes here, he said, the organization's done a great job to put a great product on the field, not just in the big leagues, but minor leagues, and hopefully they win. And then he was asked.
He works for the team.
Exactly. If he felt like the Angels were putting a winning product on the field, he said they put out a winning product every year. The problem is injuries.
The problem is the record doesn't state that.
The problem is
the record doesn't state that they put a winning product out on the field every year.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that's positive.
Because every team has injuries. Look at the Houston Astros and the injuries they had this year. They still were a winning team.
There's plenty of teams that have injuries every year. The Angels are not leading the pack in injuries.
Exactly. That's kind of my point.
Yeah. They're leading the pack in bad decisions, or among the leaders in bad decisions. But to me, that was like an overly drink the Kool-Aid kind of quote.
That was, I work for the team and I like my $1 million a year quote.
Yeah. So, you're going to have to be more real as a manager, though, in 100%. My mind.
But he hasn't hidden the fact he wants to be a manager.
He definitely wants to be a manager. He definitely
has come out and said, I want to be a manager. We all thought it would be maybe the Cardinals.
Yes.
But the Cardinals are keeping Ollie. So that closes. So there, maybe he goes, manages the Dominican for a year and then goes to try and get the Cardinals if Ollie's not there anymore.
Is this a good fit for Albert?
Dude, there's 30 of them. If you want to be a manager, someone offers you, you take it. Right, Kratzy? There's 30 of them.
If you want it bad enough, and there's other people who are pining for a managerial job, to me, I don't think that creates a situation to have success. If you're like, oh, I have to. I want to be a manager so bad. I'm going to go call this guy and make sure he puts my name out there. Oh, man, tell everybody I want to be a manager. A manager is a selfless job. It is not a promote yourself type of thing. If you want to be a manager, sometimes you got to take some that may not be a great fit. You got to do what, you got to get in line. You got to get in line. You can't get the first biggest job. He can't be like, man, Albert can't sit there and go, man, I hope Aaron Boone gets fired so I can be the Yankees manager. No, he's got to take a job. I wouldn't think the Angels should be a job like this, but they really have become that in the last few years, where you go in, you get your feet wet. They've tried managers who've had past success, and that didn't go well. So now they're going for the big name guy who's trying to get his feet wet as a manager. I'm leery of it, but I'm definitely here to watch it. That's for sure.
Yeah. It'll be entertaining.
Aaron Boone didn't have experience. He went right from the TV booth right to managing the Yankees.
Yeah.
You guys have done this. Alex Cora wasn't a manager. He's a manager of the Red Sox.
Oh, I'm not saying it couldn't work. I'm just saying they're managing the Red Sox and the Yankees. This is the Angels. This is difficult. It is. It's difficult.
Every managerial job has its own difficulties depending on where you are and what you're doing.
This will be their sixth manager in the last 9 seasons. It's become a graveyard. Nobody's gotten even to 2.5 seasons of managing this team since Mike Scioscia.
I said yesterday, you need to give somebody 5 years. Maybe Albert Pujols is the guy that Artie Moreno trusts enough and says, I'll give you the 5 years. Albert, figure it out.
Mm-hmm. I would say 5 years, and you have to. It's not even about the money and the job security. I get to manage this team for 5 years, no matter what, or you give up the team.
Yeah,
but there's no assurances. He could sign a 5-year deal, and he could still chop him after 2 or 3 years. I mean, he did it to Osmus, Madden, Nevin, Wash, Montgomery temporarily. It's a graveyard. I'm just saying.
Not giving up that. But
it's a really challenging position. I mean, look at it. Right now, they have a lame duck general manager who's probably still going to GM the team for another year, who doesn't get to basically have a say in this, and then the owner's doing it. That alone should tell you how screwed
Also, remember when they signed Pujols, that wasn't a general manager. Wasn't that also Artie? And then when they went and got Rendon, wasn't that also Artie because they missed Garrett Cole?
Yes.
And he said, "Oh no, I'm going to get somebody, so I'm just going to throw money at Rendon."
He said, "Who else you got?"
To Boris.
Yes.
So I mean, Artie's listen. This isn't the first time that Artie's done something like this. So I don't know why we're surprised. Jerry Reinsdorf did this when he hired Tony La Russa. The whole organization thought they had AJ Hinch, and Jerry's like, "Not so fast, my friends. I've got hire my buddy."
Mm-hmm. It's called My Team. My money, my team.
My team.
Yeah.
I do what I want.
I just feel for Angels fans. That's all. I've had an up and down relationship with them, but I feel for them, and I hope that Albert's the guy.
The Angels used to be. I mean, I lost to the Angels in 2002 in the playoffs. They used to be an unbelievable organization. They haven't been to the playoffs how long?
Since
2012?
Trout's first or second year?
2014. They haven't won a playoff game since 2012.
What was the Royal sweep, Kratz? You're
14,
the Royals
that was
expert.
14.
14.
Okay. Yeah, now Trout's past his prime. We know that. So this is the problem with baseball, is you have a legendary player who doesn't get to shine in October, and that's how our sport stands out, and that's how any sport stands out. You would never have LeBron not playing in the playoffs for his entire career. It would be really...
Well, Trout played in the playoffs.
Yeah, for 5 minutes.
Huh?
That's all. So anyway, in summary, it sounds like Pujols is going to get the job. It's going to be really fun to follow.
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
But if I had to make a decision right now, I think it's not going to work out well. Sorry, that's our job on this show. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. I think this is a tough spot
like Albert.
for Albert.
I hope it works out for him.
Yeah.
Superstars
giving up a lot.
Superstars need to be able to connect with every single player. You need to be able to connect with the Latin player, the American player, the pitcher, the relievers, the guys who you have to send down 3 times a year, and the superstars. And if Albert can do that, he becomes a good manager. If he has no idea what it's like to be sent down, because in his Hall of Fame career, he never was sent down, he never went through the same struggles that majority of his team is going to struggle with, then it's going to be hard for him to connect. So the guys he has around him are going to be, as far as other coaches, are going to be huge too. So his success will really dictate based on how he can connect with the players that he has on his roster.
I just think it's weird now to put Perry in this spot where he's a lame duck. It's messy.
What's up, my people of FT? Yeah, we coming off of here. Yeah, we staying hot this postseason, baby. You can't stop me. You just can't stop me right now. So here we go. Let's get that 2-game parlay coming in from Parlay Pap, your boy. And we're going to go with the Padres today. We're going to go with the Padres in the over. That puts us at like plus 250 again. So we're going to hit another plus 200 banger. And we're going to stay hot. We're going to get that cheese. We're going to put 100 on it. And we're going to roll all playoff long, baby. Let's get it.
Good luck, Pap. I guess we didn't send the memo that he got the technicality thing and he's only won a hundo for yesterday. But that's okay.
That's fine. It's Pap. He wouldn't read it anyways.
Can we see the board? And I'll talk over the board with my pick just because I want to check Pap here. Okay, so he's Padres money line and he's going over in that game, which is 6.5. Exactly why I brought that up. So I'll go with the Cubs to finish the deal, and they're at minus 115. This is a little bit of a hedge for me.
We know who I'm rooting for in this match.
Of course, but for me, I actually picked the Padres to win the series. But here's the thing: do we really think all these series are going to go 3 games? No, somebody's going to close it out. So I'm just trying to evaluate.
Right. The better question, you got a better chance of none of the series going 3 games.
Correct. So I'm like, all right, Cubs are basically even money here against the Pods. What is Dylan Cease? I love Dylan Cease's stuff, but this year he has not found the zone, and you can go to the bullpen early. And also, for me, actually, the biggest question mark is the Padres offense. I think the Cubs offense is kind of back, right? I mean, not back to what it was at the beginning of the year, but I think it's in a better spot than it was for that month lull or 2-month lull. I understand, but I mean, it's an offense that I think can work. There's some pop. They make contact. They take walks. And the Padres offense, over the whole season has been rough, and on the road, even worse. So I didn't see anything to convince me otherwise yesterday.
And against lefties, oh wait, they're facing a righty.
For 5 minutes, and then they're facing a lefty. But yes, anyway.
Yeah, but see, that's how stats sometimes get skewed.
I agree. So BetMGM players, you can get yourself a no-sweat token to apply to any bet on the MLB postseason slate. To use the token, add a bet on an MLB postseason event to your bet slip, and then you activate that token. You get bonus bets if the bet that was made with the token loses. Get your stake back in bonus bets if your MLB postseason bet loses. Got to activate the token. Just remember to do that. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Good luck, everyone, today and tonight on your picks. We've got our post-game show, Padres and Cubs Game 2 live, so we'll see you in a few hours right after that game concludes. We'll also talk about the Tigers and the Guardians. We'll go right to Kratz Hatz here.
Tina's definitely closing it out. You said we're not going to have all Game 3s. Well, here's one. Yoshinobu.
Oh, yeah, Dodgers to close it out. Okay. Couple other quick hitter notes. Let's see if I can do it in 30 seconds. Brian Wu bullpen session Thursday. Maybe he'd be a Game 3 starter for them, it sounds like. Bruce Bochy not going to manage the Giants, but he's invited to be a part of the mix if he wants. And the Pirates took the only part of their team that worked, the pitching, and said, let's fire the pitching coach, and also Brent Strom is out. Oscar Marin, however you say it, out. So that makes sense for math. Right? No. But just wanted to get that in there.